Okay, so this is going to be the after action report for the 19th November raid. It's not going to be a full report. I'm just going to cover all the tactical engagements that occurred during the raid, all the firefights basically. Espresso from USMC is going to be writing up the full report basically. He's going to type it all out. Me and him, we discussed the whole operation and a little bit more for like 2 hours. Basically as long as the operation. Yeah, we talked about that. So he wrote all the notes and minutes down of that conversation, and he's putting it together into a Word document. Yeah, but I didn't discuss with him all the tactical things that happened because both me and him quite inexperienced in that, and I wanted to go through the video that I had recorded and just have a look through myself before I discussed it, just analyze it basically before I started talking. So there's about 5 separate engagements. There were actually quite a lot because on a raid like this, you're going to run into opposition throughout the entire route, but there are only 5 engagements that I just want to really cover that I think was important. And the really important one is the very first engagement that we fight. So yeah, we'll just start with that first. So just so that nobody gets confused, the present me talking is going to be the guy that's talking when the video is paused, because you have the in-game comms here. It's all recorded. So I will try and pause when I'm going to talk. That way, hopefully you don't get confused between me, present me, and past me that's in the game. So yeah. Okay, yeah, so I should start with the context of this first engagement here. What had happened was we had entered this area of Alad's Bite, which is the northwest part, and we had entered from the adjacent hex to the northwest. And what happened there was we got spotted, and Warden QRF came out with a light tank. And we decided to, I made the decision to pull out from there and try approach from another angle. One other reason was we were one man down when we were crossing into the different hex region. We actually lost a man to connection issues, and I didn't want to commit all in, and especially when a light tank came up. Considering our force composition, I wasn't too confident in trying to get into an engagement where we were one man down and we were slightly disorganized. So that was the decision that I made. Was it right or wrong? You know, it's things like this always happen. I think it was the right decision, but people may disagree. But what that ended up allowing to happen was this engagement here. So we have now entered the hex from the southwest, and we are now pushing up north to the area where we had first encountered the QRF. And so we're going into this now fully prepared. I'm on a good lookout now, and we have the full complement for the armored car crews. So no matter what happens, we have to take this engagement, beat him, and then breach the wall because we've already taken a lot of time to kind of get here. We already lost a couple of guys to connection issues, and the major CHC offensive was starting. Well, we assumed was starting. It didn't actually start. It explains a little bit as to why we encountered a lot of resistance at this point, because the main offensive didn't happen at the H hour that it was assigned to happen. They were slowed down by logistics issues by like an hour or two. So that's also another factor as to why this engagement happened. But yeah, that's the context. We are now going into a situation where we're fully armed, full complements here. We're on the lookout, on alert, and we're basically ready to take the engagement. So we'll just see what happens from here then.
Does it fucking matter?
It's also the best way to miss your opponent.
That's kind of why I want to try out Abel's shard. I want to try out just like fighting in a shard where like.
Usually, Abel is just a bunch of clans freaking out about shit. Like,
yeah, dude, I'll join
Shard
one of those
2,
100-man Regis and just fucking.
I hope that they remove Shard 3 when that war ends, because they do not need 3 shards right now.
Need it.
They only needed it for that one war.
Clear comms. We are about to enter Watchtower range. We're going to continue on this route for another 100 meters. Then we're going to go direct northeast. If that tank is there, we're going to have to engage him. So keep that. Keep a lookout. Oh, he's here. Okay, contact northwest 90 meters. Okay, so here I call out the contact, give direction, give range. What I failed to do here is identify the target, which is a pretty important piece of information that everybody needs to know. So a lot of the problems that you're going to see in this operation is the lack of being able to communicate effectively to paint the situation. Basically, the situational awareness of the group itself is quite poor because we've never worked together. This is the first major operation that I'm I'm commanding with this many people, and yeah, a lot of us are not too familiar with the weapon systems either. The armored car crews got a bit confused with how the weapons reloaded. It's got a magazine, it doesn't shoot once and then reload. And as this battle unfolds, you also see that not a lot of us were aware that elevation actually plays a big part. Even though this is a 3D isometric war game, there is elevation that allows you or your opponents to actually shoot from an angle above, which is very weird. And I don't think it should be a thing really, because it's very confusing. But that's just game mechanics. Can't complain about that. So I've called out the contact, given the range, given the direction. I should have identified what the tank is. Now this is actually my fault here because I actually don't even know what all the warden tanks are or how they look like or what it is. Um, I usually just assume the worst, that they have anti-tank capabilities of some kind, but this is not the case here. This is a anti-infantry light tank that the wardens have. That's very crucial piece of information that I should have given out, but I didn't know at the time, and I need to make sure I don't do that again. So, yeah, let me just roll it a little bit longer. Third cardboard form on my right. This reverse a bit. So what I was trying to do there was, in my mind, the column, and we already laid out the order in which we were going in. It was me and this in the front because we're the forward recon element. Cardboard behind the armor car. Bird behind cardboard, and Azazel, who's running logistics in the second jeep behind that at the rear. So as we were coming up on this boulder here on the left, in my mind, that was the order in which we had. And so once we came up to that contact there, I figured that best way to deploy was to have cardboard and bird just form a line here. But if you're looking through the binoculars, you're not aware about what's going on in your immediate surroundings. I found this out the hard way many times, and I'm lucky that I have a jeep driver this time, because usually there's like a synergy between the guy looking through the binos and the jeep driver. The jeep driver has basically the full situational awareness around the jeep, whereas the guy with the binos looks further out and keeps an eye out for the rest of the team. If both of them have the synergy to work together, and me and this, we worked out pretty well as a team for this one. It's great. It helps not only the recon guy and the jeep driver, but also the whole team as well. Now, just to go a little bit off sidetrack here, the difference between doing recon for the commander and actually being the commander of the op is that if you're doing the forward reconnaissance, your job is to paint the picture for the commander, right? You go out further than he can because he needs to be around the friendlies to be able to coordinate and see what's going on. If you're doing forward reconnaissance, you don't need to do that. You're a free agent that goes out, and your job is to find the threats long before the commander has to identify it himself. All right. And as the forward reconnaissance, you paint the picture, and then you're supposed to provide options to the commander. You don't make the decisions. You just provide the options, paint the picture, the commander makes the decisions. In this case here, I'm not doing forward reconnaissance, which is usually what I do in operations like this. This is my first time commanding a big thing like this. And what I've learned now is that you have to be very quick in making your decisions, and you also have to be prepared for the unexpected. Like this is one of them. You have to keep your cool because things are not going to go right every time. And at this point, we don't have a doctrine. We have no tactical handbook. Everything that you see here in this entire operation was just on the fly. Nobody has like a standard operating procedure of this is how we want to run this engagement if we come up against such and such a threat. That's not how it works. So here, I have this idea in my mind of how I wanted the engagement to go, but obviously I haven't told anybody what it is that I think, because what would be the point if you go through like 10 different scenarios that may happen? experience is probably the better way to just find out, hit first, trial by fire. So here, as I pull back the binos, I realized that Cardboard has already gone a hit on the left side. And this is actually pretty good because we've made contact. We don't want the forward reconnaissance unit to be the one that gets hit first. So he's gone up ahead, and in the event that the light tank does charge, he's in the position to take the hits first, which is, I think, really good. The other problem here is that we actually are a little bit out of cohesion because Bird actually doesn't know where we are, as you're about to see.
I don't even know where you're at. Oh, there you are.
Yeah. So he was actually much further behind, and I that's my fault that I didn't check back to see that everybody was in the area, because nobody else here has the ability to look that far outside of the screen. Actually, that's not true. The gunners actually have the ability to, when they aim, they can extend their view range out quite a bit, but that's besides the point. So yeah, that's a problem there. But what happens after this though was it was very good how the team reacted to the situation. Okay, never mind. Cardboard, stay there.
Are we engaging?
Yeah,
or are we
he's
just looking?
northwest 120 meters. Okay. So I suppose I need to speak up a little bit because some people said that I speak quite softly, but this is not the first time it's happened either. For this whole operation, I would say things and people would then ask the question, it's like, are we going to do such and such a thing? I'm like, I just said so. It's what we need to do. But never mind. So yeah, I did try to make sure to tell everybody that yes, if we do engage this light tank, we are going to engage. This is a fight that we want to take, and this is a fight that we are much more well prepared to take than the previous one where we crossed from the other side of the border. So yeah. So in my mind, the way that the best way to handle this is that we want to have the recon armored car, in a line formation with some space in between them. We don't want them next to each other, and that's because we want to utilize our numbers advantage here. It's a 2-on-1 mismatch. What we want to try to do is sandwich the guy. All right, we have the numbers and we have enough firepower to take him on. So I just want them in a line with some space in between them, and then as the commander, or if I was forward reconnaissance as well, I need to identify where the target is, make sure that they're aligned towards him, and basically I just need to set the play. That's the job of the commander for the most part. You're not here to actually go in, start shooting people. You need to make sure that the team is oriented in the best position possible so that the engagement hopefully goes your way. Because this isn't like an RTS game where you get to left click and then right click on the enemy and they do what they're programmed to do. Nobody's programmed to do anything here. We're not robots and whatnot. The best thing you can do is just try to get everybody together, make sure they're communicating well, give a sense of direction and focus, and then you just let them play the scenario out. I see a lot of people like trying to micromanage each individual tanks and whatnot. There's no point in doing that because you're just going to confuse your guys. So, and here I'm very, very glad and very happy and very lucky that the crew that came along for this mission, there's quite a few veterans here, and those that aren't veterans in armored combat, they've played the game quite a long time, that they have like a game sense basically to know how to run the play basically. So here I'm just gonna try orientate the group and then send them forward and see how it goes. Yeah, Bird, Cardboard, advance slowly. This move 20 meters up. Okay, he's charging us. Keep going forward, guys. Okay, go. You got a chance. Go. So right there, this is as good as it gets. We've got enough space that he has to pick a target, and actually, if you're on the opposite side, basically, what he does is the best correct play. It's just a reverse back, because if he commits to one target, the other has the opportunity to flank, which is what we're trying to do. And everyone here pretty much plays it out correctly for the most part. They've created distance. They're facing the right direction, and both of them have routes to try flank the tank. And if he doesn't, then well, he dies, so he has to reverse. And yeah.
Bart, when you can. Oh, it's a machine gun thing.
Keep us just behind Bird this again.
Loading bird.
Reverse, reverse.
Get us back, get us back.
Okay, hold this, hold. Nice, good hit.
Hit him.
I'm
No.
wounded.
Are
Yeah,
you
he's down.
serious?
Oh my.
So this is where things went wrong, and this was what I was talking about, the elevation in an isometric game. As you're coming down this hill, you're actually at an angle in which he can hit you, and basically Bird's gunner, he got, I believe he actually got injured even before they got here. I'm not too sure, but he got hit by a stray and he bled out. And Cardboard's gunner here, he just got a face full of machine guns right here when he's coming down the hill, and well, he's dead. Yeah, it's nobody's fault because nobody knew how this was gonna be, and even Cardboard here, who's he's been through quite a lot of armored engagements. He didn't know what was going on here because he's driving as well. So yeah, it's just what it is. It's a learning experience. One of the big takes from here is the communication. So it's a small group, but every time that I'm talking to this to give directions, I can see further down the line if there's another person that joins the group. Maybe he's an outsider or he's a rookie. He might get confused because there's like 3 different people giving 3 different directions to 3 different other people. This is, I really don't have like a solution to that. It's just the chaos of combat, really. I mean, what can you do? But everybody here, for the most part, even though we lose our gunners, I mean, Bird's about to hop into the secondary and finish off the tank because it's already disabled, and we kill like 3 guys here, I believe. So I mean, technically, we did win the engagement. I mean, we killed a tank with armored cars. So yeah, I'll just run it a little bit
My
longer.
fucking god.
Incoming.
Dad.
Nice. Please tell me we've got someone who can pick me up.
I don't think I can.
No,
at
I
this
don't think we have
point.
medics. I'm gonna need a gunner. We both are gonna need a gunner temporarily. We did get the tank though.
Merlin, secondary.
I can't. It's not letting me switch to my weapon.
Tap. Alright, he's good.
So that guy in the car, he came, he had a look, and then he ran away. Problem here is that you in the Odyssey, if you are in the second seat and looking up the hatch, you need to have the weapon that's in the secondary slot, which I didn't bring. And I actually only found out just prior to this. Bird told me about the pitch gun. But at the time, I thought to myself, I said, I don't think I really need it. But yeah, I guess it's something I'm going to be bringing from now on, the pitch gun. And I'm not entirely sure how it works, but I'm assuming from what this was telling me here that if I just tap the inventory slot multiple times, the secondary inventory slot, it should cycle through all the available equipment that I can use in the secondary slot. I'm not too sure. I'm going to have to figure that out. But yeah, this is how the engagement went. All the vehicles are all alive. We just lost the 2 gunners. And yeah, that's how the first engagement went. So, I made the decision here to not go back and pick up the gunners because we've already run into the QRF once where we had to pull back and then come back. And the whole point behind the raid is we need to be fast, basically. And we still haven't even like breached the wall that we need to get past. It's not a very easy decision because now you're gonna have 2 guys that came along to help prepared, fought the tank, died, and now they're not gonna be, a part of the rest of the fun, basically. But that's a decision that you have to make as the commander, I suppose. And this is what I said. I'm very lucky that the group of guys that I have are all very mature adults, and everyone was fine with it. We do end up all dying in this first attempt, so nobody really missed out. I'm just saying. So we'll just go to the breach here.
Nope.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So it was a successful breach. So it was just the one wall with the watchtower. And as far as I know, actually, there is no encampment or bunker base around this area of the breach. So technically this wall, if given enough time, would have decayed eventually. But of course, we're not going to wait for it to decay. But this was a very good initial breach, basically. We had Azazel and Dis with the Jeeps, got out the Hydro Whispers, set up the demolition charges, blew it up. And then after that, however, things don't go too well. We do end up dying. We do find a Logi convoy of 2 flatbeds, one of them with an artillery piece, and Bird actually manages to take that out. Let me see if I can find that. I forgot to look this one up. I only just remembered.
We're still going. Let's go.
Oh,
Okay, I'm gonna
hey,
go
contacts here. Okay,
moving up
knock
the
these
second.
guys out on your left.
Shoot him! Shoot him! Shoot him!
Can't see him.
No, Azazel turn left.
Destroy that fucking one with
Head
the gun
south,
in it. That's where
Azazel.
Loading.
So at this point, we've abandoned one of the Jeeps, and I do believe we lost one of the armored cars. And what we had to do there basically was just re-equip and change the force composition here because we want to have full armored car crews. We need the gunner and the driver, and I wasn't gonna like risk bringing just 2 Jeeps with 2 drivers. Might as well just bring 1 Jeep with the equipment and have the recon guy, which is basically me as the commander with the binos, in the same thing as well, just to make it more efficient, more effective. But here we come across this one flatbed with the artillery piece. Bird actually manages to knock it out. However, a second QRF tank pops up here.
It's way more important.
Stop,
Destroy that thing.
Azazel. One guy got out.
Keep destroying that truck. Don't stop destroying that truck.
You want me to
You see it.
dismount?
No, Azazel, stay in the
Loading.
Jeep. Okay, tank, direct south behind that truck. He's coming up towards us.
Run.
Azazel, reverse. So I probably should have kept my vision further out, but I was a little bit concerned because of how close we were with the people that we were attacking. I figured that I might as well just keep one eye here, one eye there. It's not what I should be doing. Because I'm the guy with the binos here, it's my job to make sure that I'm looking out for the threats beyond that. So that's a mistake I made here. But even then, this tank right here is not like the light tank that we engaged before. This one's got anti-tank and it's much more armored. I still need to go through the Warden tank recognition list. It's something I'm going to need to learn. I should learn that sooner rather than later. But yeah, basically from here on, he just comes around and gets us. And that's the end of the first attempt. So what happened after that is we decided to make a second attempt. And this time we brought a hatchet prototype light tank. And we can fast forward to the second breach. Yeah, here. So what had happened is that they built 3 walls and then mined it. And then they left. Because as we made this second attempt, nobody came after us. And another reason why that didn't happen was because at this time, the main CHC offensive was in full swing, basically. So I don't think anybody had time for us to deal with this. So this was a pretty good breach. 40mm cannon is really, really potent and powerful. We just blow through all 3 walls. And thanks to the good, sharp eyes of Azazel and this, we spotted the mine, so we jumped out, disarmed them, and then we just pushed through from this wall, and then we headed into Endless Shore. The Endless Shore battle, that's the 4th one that I want to talk about. So here, yeah, this is just in the middle of it. Basically, the context is that we're deep behind enemy lines, and these dudes, probably the same ones that we were fighting an hour before. There's about 4 of them, and they're scrambling to try disable us and prevent us from going forward. But they didn't bring any more like armor after this, despite the fact that we were right next to the Logi lines and the Logi hex. They just came in trucks and grenades, and that's all. So I'll just let this run a little bit.
Oh, what the
Keep
fuck?
going, Dis. Keep going.
What the fuck? Retract. Ah,
Oh, retract. Oh,
up repair. Hurry.
bird repair.
That wasn't mine,
I'm
maybe.
trying. I can't get out. There we go. I was in a reload
Behind us.
animation.
Behind us.
Oh, right here. Behind us. Behind us. Behind us. Zazel behind you.
Got him.
Nice.
So here, what I did was I switched into the gunner's view because bird is repairing. What should have happened was that I should have been the one to get out and repair. Keep this inside because he's the driver, and keep bird inside because he's the gunner, basically. So that was a mistake there. And one other thing that I need to mention, and some people get confused about this, it's the same with the Odyssey. If you're switching seats, or if you're closing a hatch, switching a seat, and then trying to like turn the turret here, in this case of the tank, it takes actually quite a lot of time. In the Odyssey, for example, when I'm doing solo runs, recon, every time that I want to stay in the Odyssey for just a little bit of protection and use the hatch instead of like jumping out to use my binos, it takes some time to switch the seat and then open the hatch and then equip the binos. And in this case here, it actually takes quite some time to close the hatch, switch the seat, and then turn the turret. So these kind of like small details gonna have to work on. But it's something that everybody else who's watching this keep in mind when you're going out into your first firefight. Basically, you're gonna have to get used to this and try to develop reflexes to switch, change, and turn and whatnot all at the same time.
Surprised that thing's still driving.
Get the tracks up, then we just cross the bridge, and then we'll repair on the other side. Percentage
guys, to our east.
80.
To our east, guys.
Good kill.
To our east, we're being
What
shot.
is
Truck coming
this?
from our right.
Don't go too far off. Don't go too far off.
Truck behind you, rebel. Behind you.
So I make the mistake there because Espresso was already committing to defend the southeastern side. I should have just kept my eyes out on the front here. Then these two jokers show up with a car, and yeah.
We're in trouble now. Nice hit.
One down.
Let's clear the Jeep.
Are we repaired?
No, I'm out of VMATs.
Careful, Bird. There's still
My
one more
Jeep.
guy out there.
Watch
Oh,
out.
Shot from our north.
I'm out of BMS.
Are you bleeding, Bird?
I got some here.
no, I'm not bleeding. I tried checking if that Jeep had any VMATs in it, but I can't. It's locked. I'm out of shit.
Could just
Oh, there's VMATs in here.
destroy it.
So right there, probably my fault again, because I did try to explain to everybody that the Jeeps were acting as the logi element of the whole engagement. But Bird didn't hear that, so he went looking in the enemy's inventory for BMATs. We had like 300 BMATs in the Jeep that's behind us. Yeah, I thought that was funny. But yeah, he didn't die, so that was good. And he got out and he finally found the BMATs and got us repaired, and then we headed off into the Godscroft component mine. There's not really much to talk about this because it's just a turkey shoot, really. But basically, the only thing I wanted to say here is that I probably should have like given a better target prioritization list. You have to understand is that the whole point about this isn't really to destroy material, because if any one of these logi dudes like hopped on the next day, just grinded for like 4 hours, he would have been able to replace all the equipment that we would destroy or damage in this entire run. I mean, that's just the nature of it. The only thing here that we can't hit is try to demoralize the enemy and eliminate the infantry, basically. Because most of the time, and I do this a lot, when you're out gathering materials, you don't set your spawn point next to any spawns that are next to the resource, basically. You usually set it back at your base or facility or whatnot, and you bring the vehicles from there to where you're going. So in this case, we wanted to hurt the time and manpower aspect. We just focus on the infantry here, which is the logi dudes. We killed them, and pray and hopefully pray that they decide to give up, because now they have to respawn, grab another vehicle, go all the way back here. And what we try to do is also destroy the flatbeds. In this case, we were a little bit unlucky. The flatbeds weren't loaded. But looking at the replay here, they have only just gotten started getting components, so just a little bit unlucky in that respect. But the main thing we want to try hit here is manpower and time. The time aspect being the player's time, the opponent player's time. Because I know that if I were in their shoes and I had like making a trip all the way to a component mine of all the mines and got shot up there while grabbing components, I would be quite angry. And I know that there are quite a few people who would just immediately log off, and that's the only thing that we can try to like hit really. So the priority here I should have made clearer was go in, knock out these guys, then hit the equipment, because trying to hit the infantry and try to hit their morale is the better target. At least that's how I approach the game. People may disagree with that, but yeah, that's they're running.
Infantry.
Keep engaging. No, don't concern with yourself with the rifles, Bird. Just focus on infantry. So the reason why I made that call there is because only Azazel is the one that can get properly damaged by rifle fire in the Odyssey. The armored car and the hatchet, they take these hits pretty well. Actually, I don't think that small arms like rifles can actually hurt the tank. And since we're at the front, in the middle, and we're actually getting low on ammunition, we don't need to concern ourselves with the defenses. We're already here. Just focus on what I said before. I did make clear what the priorities were in trying to hit the targets. So yeah, that's that. And after that, we just shoot up a bunch of the trucks and then we bail. So yeah, that's all the major things that I wanted to cover, because these are the things that I didn't cover with Espresso, who is going to be writing the full report. So yeah, hopefully this was helpful. And if anybody has anything to add or want to discuss about it, just put it in the Discord below the video, just like, @reply it, and we can talk about it there. So yeah.